Tyler Sandoval, he did not play in the loss to Maryland. Princeton went down and battled valiantly 2 weekends ago, 15-10. They fell to the top-ranked Terps. Tyler Sandoval was sidelined in that one. He had his breakout game for Princeton 2 years ago as a freshman against Rutgers. But here's another transfer, Jonathan Duhenio. Shot off the face-off draw, win foot race forward, and it'll be Ross Scott. Rolls over 3 seasons with the Tar Heels. He was part of that UNC team that knocked Rutgers out of the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. Back to the face-off X. Sandoval with a beat on it. It kicks out of bounds, and that'll go towards the Scarlet Knights.
So far, the bounce is going Rutgers' way.
2 weeks ago, so heading into the second game against Binghamton, Sam English had 1 career goal in 6 career games. He's got 10 since.
Coming out of Culver Academy, it's not surprising how many different things Sam English can do on the lacrosse field.
Sandoval battling Duhenio for the loose ball on the face-off in this 1-1 game. Last week, 5 goals in that 10-8 victory down at Georgetown. He'll suit up for the U.S. Under-21 national team at the World Championships this summer. Make the trip to Ireland, one of 26 players on that Team USA.
Working that way, and we're back to the face-off X, where this game will be won or lost.
14 goals for Brian Cameron. He sat out the opener against LIU on February 5th, so 14 goals in now just 5+ games. Princeton off the face-off win. Ball down, and I think the Tigers stepped into the crease.
Yes.
2 years back, they started scheduling it on the weekend. And then with some snow and a wintry mix in the forecast tomorrow, we get it on a Friday night.
Good fanfare here. The fans are familiar with each other as well. Just an age-old rivalry. Been watching this game since I was 6 years old growing up in this state, and I can't remember more being on the line than number 3 and number 7. The state of New Jersey is in great hands in terms of college lacrosse. Monmouth winning their conference last year and making an NCAA tournament appearance. The Garden State doing very well.
Around lunchtime, they decided to shift it to Friday. Out of the Robbinsville High School, 260 points in 4 years there before he took a post-grad year at Trinity Pauling. He actually broke his older brother's record. As we look down at the Rutgers sideline, you saw on the back of the jerseys, fitting tribute to a lacrosse legend, Tom Hayes, who passed away Monday. So an emotional week, not only for Rutgers, but the college lacrosse world.
In team.
Tyler Sandoval, clean face-off wins have been tough to come by. He'll carry it in. And a timeout taken. Midfield, the junior from Greenwich, Connecticut. He had 5 goals in the opener against Monmouth. Only had 1 goal the last 3 weeks.
Another year of college lacrosse. Why not go get a graduate degree like an MBA in really the shadows of New York City, where there's a lot of postgraduate opportunities?
Jake Stevens corralling it.
But a whip out earlier. The ball can be released from so high. So we take another look at that tribute to Tom Hayes. Again, just a legend in the global growth of the game of lacrosse. He'll be sorely missed and always remembered.
They had Stevens and Lazaretto out there at the face-off wings. Daninger, one of those senior short-stick defensive midfielders with
the offense, but Bartolo sometimes throws off what you're thinking. And a nice face-off win for the Tigers, who really need to gain back momentum here.
Second tonight, 8th of the year, Chris Brown. Safe to say one of the more underrated players in all of college lacrosse. He's never been an all-conference selection. He's about a 3.5 point per game player over a 4-year career. Sandoval with the face-off win. He gets upended. Ground ball scooped 5 games. And we see him right back to that familiar spot, top of your screen on the face-off wing. Lazaretto, the pole, had it slapped away, but scoops it up. The Tigers ran 7 poles out there last week at Georgetown. They finished 5-0, ranked 3rd in the country. The year before that, it was a 9-8 overtime, or a 9-8 victory for the Scarlet Knights up in Piscataway. Year before that, it was an overtime game winner by Austin Sims here at Sherrod Field. One of the more entertaining rivalries in college lacrosse.
Yeah, it's certainly heated up.
Those are two of the biggest bodies the Tigers have.
Yeah, and against the size on the Rutgers attack and midfield, when you talk about Cameron and Bartolo, George Bond is certainly a nice to have tonight.
Mitch American out of Oregon Episcopal, 345 points in his prep career. He was a top 30 inside lacrosse recruit when he came in a couple years ago, but with Michael Sowers holding down that ex-attackman spot, he was a midfielder in 2020. Slusher, it seems like this is game number 5 for the Tigers. Had 5 of Princeton's 10 goals in that upset victory down at Georgetown last week. So the penalty still assessed to Bobby Russo. 1 minute man up coming up for the Tigers. And for the first time tonight, they lead it by 3.
And that's a team victory at the face-off. Playing a little hockey, getting it to the open man. That was Jake
Brown. Had that 35-game goal-scoring streak snapped last week. He had scored in every game in his career up until then. He did have 2 assists last week. Sandoval off the face-off win. They got a piece of it, and that's an easy save.
Yeah, Sandoval wanted to throw the fast.
Slusher with the first-half hat trick for the Tigers. 10 saves for the netminder for Princeton, Eric Peters, who was added to the Tualatin 8 contest.
A couple of Robbinsville players right in front of us here at the booth. A logo very similar to that of Rutgers, the red R.
Face-off win for the Scarlet Knights. Ethan Rawl, their talent. Talk about the importance of making a couple of early saves. Doesn't really matter for Eric Peters because he's not going to take one possession into the next.
There's a procedural call. It's going to go Princeton's way. This could barely keep up with that one. And a great way for Princeton to again get to that 4-goal lead that they cherished at halftime.
The Ontario native, can you tell he's played some box lacrosse?
I think so.
Ronan Jacoby, the senior from Connecticut, had 6 goals and a win at 10th-ranked Army back on February 19th. Face-off win by the...
See, at the defensive coordinator position was something Princeton had lacked. And now they have it in, Jeremy Hirsch, who's a Princeton alum, knows what it's like to...
Last week at Georgetown, what does he do tonight? Second career start, 4 goals, 2 assists.
Well, sometimes when you're preparing for an opponent, you're watching tape, you're focused on the players that have produced recently, and tell you what, Penn, next week, they're going to prepare for 91. Phase 25 to play. It's an awfully tough mountain to climb. It's all got to start with a big face-off win here.
Princeton leads the nation in shot percentage. Alex Slusher.
For Ross Scott.
That leads the Scarlet Knights, and that pulls them back within 6. Face-off win for Rutgers.
Certainly difficult.
Another hat trick for the senior from Norwalk, Connecticut. Makes it a 5-goal game. Hold on the face-off. It's against the Scarlet Knights, so Princeton gets possession.